Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie paper and ink, and here are two Christmas cards I made using some Simon Says Stamp dies and stamp set. And my original plan, as usual, changed. I was only going to make one card, and then as I started thinking how I was going to make this card, I was like, this would be a really easy one to mass produce. If I wanted to make, tons of them. I almost did make quite a few. I was like, why not? I can do, 10 of them. But because I'm doing a series and videos and all that, I want to take that extra time to make other things. So anywho, I decided to do two because it's just as easy to make two at the same time as it would be to make one. And I did all of my prepping. I've shown this in other videos. This is how I would mass produce, is I do everything at the same time. So I did all my prepping first. I had all my cardstock and this glitter paper ready so I could run everything through my die cut machine at one time. So I die cut some silver glitter cardstock with one of the Simon Says Stamp basic rectangle dies. And then I had trimmed down some of Simon Says Stamp Schoolhouse Red cardstock, and I die cut that with one of the other basic rectangle dies, as well as the Corbel Ornament Collage die. I did that at the same time, and then there was enough space to run through the Merry Christmas script at the same time. So I basically did 3 sets of die cutting at once in one pass with that, and then the silver glitter cardstock. So once all my die cutting was done, I could set aside my die cut machine, and then I pulled out my Spellbinders tool-in-one. You can use this like I'm showing here, or you can also use it on the die itself to pop out all the pieces that generally will stick in the die with one like this. But because this Schoolhouse Red cardstock is so heavyweight, the cardstock didn't stick in the die. Instead, it stuck in the paper. So all I did was just lay those die cut pieces on top of the foam that comes with the tool-in-one, or it did with mine. I haven't checked to see if it still does. You can use a micropore cloth, or a microfiber cloth, sorry, would work just as well. But yeah, ran the tool lightly over the cardstock. I didn't press too hard because I didn't want to create marks in the cardstock, and it popped out all those pieces rather than individually going one after another to pop it out. So that's usually what I use this tool for, and I love it for that. So I did that, and then I stamped a sentiment from the Happy Christmas stamp set. I treated the cardstock first with some anti-static powder, and then I stamped the sentiment with Simon Says Stamp clear ink, and then I used Ranger's super fine detail embossing powder. This is even finer than a fine detail because the bottom part of the sentiment is so small that you could, if you use just a regular white embossing powder, it would look like a lump. You wouldn't be able to read it. So I used the super fine detail embossing powder, heated that up with my heat tool, and then I removed the anti-static powder with my fingers. And then for a final little bit of embellishment, you could just kind of leave it as is, but I wanted it to make it look like the ornament was kind of hanging there. So I just strung through some silver cord through the top part of the ornament here, and then I just taped it on the back of these die cut pieces of cardstock. And again, you could leave it here. I think that would look just fine. But as usual, I don't leave well enough alone and decided to tie 2 little bows onto it. I've tied a bajillion bows. I get a lot of comments about this. People saying they struggle with bows. Trust me, when I first started card making and, adding ribbon and bows to your cards became a thing, I struggled all the time. It used to drive me nuts when I would see people tie perfect little bows all the time. I still don't think mine are perfect. I just, after tying hundreds, if not thousands of bows over the years, the process has become a lot easier. So I tied these little cord bows, and I knew they wouldn't be completely perfect just because this type of metallic cord, it kind of just goes where it wants. So the tails weren't perfect. If it really bothered you, you could use a little bit of multimedia matte adhesive and adhere them down, but I didn't bother. I was okay with it. I did use a generous amount of foam adhesive behind this red cardstock. I find foam adhesive adheres really well to glitter cardstock. Otherwise, you need to use like a liquid adhesive and just pay a little more attention because adhering on top of a glitter cardstock can get a little finicky. Things don't generally want to adhere to it, but I find a foam adhesive works really well. And like I said, I was generous with the foam adhesive because I didn't want these to like squish or flatten when they're in the mail. And then I took my full size of 8.5 by 11 cardstock and I put it in portrait wise landscape. I always forget. Landscape. And scored it at 5.5 before I cut it. So I had both cards scored at the same time. And then cut it at the 4 1/4 mark. So they're both top folding A2 sized cards. So did that in one step and then applied the adhesive to the back of the glitter cardstock in one step here. And then adhered these to my card bases. So they were done there. I did think I could have added like some white enamel dots. You could, you could stamp a few snowflakes. You could totally take these, over the top if you wanted, but I did stop here with these just to keep them more simple. So I did that, and then for the insides, this is where I used this Merry Christmas script die. I just adhered them to the insides with multimedia matte adhesive. You could definitely stamp a sentiment. I don't have Schoolhouse Red ink. How shocking is that? So I would have stamped a sentiment in a coordinating, like the same color of ink, but I don't have that. So that's why I die cut the sentiment. Plus it gave me an excuse to use the sentiment because I just love it. I love this font. It's just gorgeous. I'm pretty sure this is a Christina Werner, like hand done. Like her, it's fabulous. So adhered those, and that was it. These cards were really simple to make, would be so simple to mass produce. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will have links below the video to all the supplies used, as well as my blog post, all that info. So check out the description box below if you're interested. And I'll have links to a couple more videos at the end. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all very soon in another video. Bye.